Hello everyone, this is Mukundan Raghavan, and today we are going to see the data-driven testing in Katalon Studio. It's a very common scenario in testing. We have multiple data for the same test case. If you are using in the manual way, it might be the cumbersome and lengthy process. We are going to do the data-driven testing from the external source. External source can be Excel file, CSV file, JSON file, or even it can be the database. But in most common areas, we will be using the CSV file rather than Excel or other files. Because CSV file will be the common platform where you can use in any platform. With that point, having said that, we will try to see how the Katalon Studio supports the data-driven testing and how to parameterize your inputs from the CSV file. Let's jump into the code. As we know that we have sample site sasdemo.com and we have the multiple users and the same password. We can use the same set of data just to see how the data-driven testing is happening in the Katalon Studio. Before that, it is a simple test case where you open the browser, navigate to the sasdemo.com and one of the user and one of the password. Obviously, that is the same password for everyone and click login button. It is a very simple test case which uses only one set of data. Let's confirm this single set is working fine. Then we will do the data parameterization. Click on run. Entering the data, entering the password. Yes, it's working fine. Let's close this. Now we need to prepare the test data. So we are going to create the test data in the CSV file. As you know that this is the CSV file and you can see the user, standard user, locked out user, problem user, and visual user and the password. And it has the header in the first row. If you want to see the name, you can see user data.csv. Save it and close it. Now, in order to create the test data, you need to go to the file, new, and then test data. And here you will have the options to select the different sources. It can be the database data, CSV, Excel file, internal data. However, we are focusing CSV data in this file. Click on OK and click browse and go to your documents, maybe wherever you saved. In my case, it's a user data.csv. Click open. You have the things ready here. And there is a checkbox, use the first row as the header. Yes, we checked it. So we can have the data here. Apart from that, make sure you have selected the comma, even though you selected the comma separated file or CSV file. Save it and close it. Now under the test data, same like your test cases, object repository, you will have the data files. So there you can see the new test data. If you open, again, you will be having the test data. Fine. Now go to the test case. So the test case is test 2. Now click here and maybe we will need to, instead of string value, we need to add the variable. So in order to use the variable, first of all, you need to define that. Go to the variable session and create the variable as shown here. User, maybe if you want to add, just click on add and double click it. You will be giving the variable name and the type and the default value. Basically, we can give the default value. So as of now, it's not required. So we have already created the two records, user and password. Probably I am using the same field name like in your CSV file. After adding this, now go to the script. And here you can go right click and just click variable. And variable name will be, click on the drop down. You can see the existing variables that you define under the test. Click OK. And the password also, you can use the same variable type. Value type will be variable. And you just choose the password. Yes. Now we have created the variable and we have attached to that. But the value to this user and password variables would be empty. Default value will be empty. Then how to bind our data, especially the test data CSV file? Yes, we do know that we have the new test data. The file has been created and registered here. In order to connect these two things, you need to go to the data binding. Go to the data binding and click on the set data type and it will be the data column. And after that, you will be selecting the data. So here you cannot see anything. Why? Because you have not added any test data. Here you can see it is actually variable binding. So you have the variables in your test case because you can see it is comes under the test case. So these variables are already added, but you need to add the data. So for that, again, you will click here, new. Obviously, it will show all the test data that you had at the data files. We have only the new test data, click and OK. Now here you can see the test data files has been added. Now again, just click on the test data type. Okay, I think I need to select set test data. Yes, now you can see the test data. Yes, now let's go to the test data value. It should be editable. Let's edit. Okay, I need to select data column. Yes, we have selected the data column and we have selected the test data. Yes, now it's coming. Maybe it's a little delay. So the test data source is new test data and the value. Now you click here. So these are the columns available from your CSV file. This is not a variable. Variable already here, you can see under the name, it is under the variable binding. But the value it is getting from the test data, and the value you can select from the column name user. Or if you don't want to do that, there will be the map all. Automatically it checks your variable name and the CSV header. If it is matching, it automatically maps. Found don't match. Yes. So just to prove that, you can just change the value in the Excel sheet so that you can manually map it. But to save your time, just make the same naming convention in your variable as well as in your CSV file header. After doing all these things, just save it. Make sure your asterisk symbol is not there here. Now go to the manual. So basically, we will summarize what we have done. First of all, we make sure our single script is executing with the single data point. After making sure, replacing that value with the variables. Obviously, in order to have the variable, you need to define the variable under the variable sessions. Most probably, you will be using the same header as you were in your CSV file. After adding the variable, you can see under the variable, it may or may not have any default value. Then going to the data binding, and you will be adding your data under the data files. Those data files will be added here. Then here you will be adding the variable binding. Basically, you will be binding your variable with the test data. And this is the data column, and you will be selecting the data source, which is your external file, which you already registered. Then you will be adding the value to that. This value will be from your headers. After doing all these things, make sure you have saved. Now go to the test case and execute. It started running. Probably it should run for multiple times as many numbers that you have in your CSV file. Let's see. Yes. Second one started. Logged out user. Yes. Third one started. Yes. Last but not least, visual user. Exactly. We have completed all the 4 set. So now we have understood how the data-driven testing working in the Katalon. But no matter whether you use the Katalon Studio or any application or any tool for data-driven testing, you need to make sure your test data having the different classes. Means if your all data are same, there is no point in doing the data-driven testing. You should have the variety of data, and those variety of data is working on your application. That's what the intention of the data-driven testing. If you have the same character set of data set, then there is no value to the data-driven testing. So this is all about this video. We have seen how to do the data-driven testing using the Katalon Studio by using the data files, variables, and data binding. Thank you everyone, and always be a rainbow in others' cloud.